Let's just take a nice big breath in. Gosh, that feels good. And I heard my, my chest crack. Exhale, coming down. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, let's relax down, soften our knees, and let's come all the way back up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart, hands to side, reaching up. Exhale, diving down. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften knees, slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart, hands to side, one more. And exhale, diving down. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften our knees. Let's come all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart and hands to side. This time, let's flow, just getting a bit more movement. Exhale, diving down. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, bringing hands on the ground. Let's take our left knee back, coming into a low lunge. And inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands onto the ground, tucking toes, coming back into our first downward facing dog. Nice wide spread fingers, feeling the engagement of our shoulders, our hands, and feeling how good it feels to lengthen the backs of the legs. And soften knees, looking past hands, jump, step, or float feet forward. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften knees, and slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart, hands to side, and reaching up. Exhale, bowing forward. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, hands on the ground. Let's take our right knee back this time. And inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands down, tuck toes, coming back into downward facing dog and walking through the feet. Feeling that nice lengthening. And softening into both knees, looking past our hands. Jump, step, or float feet forward. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften our knees, and slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart, and hands to side, and inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bowing forward, feeling how good it feels each time we do this, getting a bit more movement. Inhaling, halfway lift, hands to the ground. Let's bring our left knee back again and come all the way up. Big breath in. And this time, let's stay here for a few breaths, making sure that front knee is directly over our ankle. And then bringing hands to hips very carefully. That's just bringing leg forward, reach the hip to the side, circle it around. Just start to release the hip. And two more. Last one, and reverse the other way. Coming back to center and flexing the foot, and then softening into our knee and flex and soften. Two more. And last one. And soften, planting both hands onto the ground. Tuck our toes, stepping it back into downward dog, walking through the feet. And when you're ready, let's pick up. Our left foot stepping it in between our thumbs, planting it onto the ground and finding our way all the way up. Taking those big breaths in and big breath out. Seeing if you can relax your toes as we breathe. And very carefully reaching forward. Reach the hip out and around, forward, hip around. So very small, which will start to release that opposite hip flexor, the one in the back. And one more. Reverse the other way, side, forward, around, side, forward, around, side, forward, around. Two more. And last one, bringing both hands onto the ground, untuck your toes, flexing front foot, really pulling that left hip back, feeling your chest reaching towards your shin. As we take those deep breaths in and deep breath out. And one more big breath, softening into front knee, tucking toes, very carefully transferring down into downward facing dog and walking through the feet. And when you're ready, soften your knees, bringing your knees towards the ground and hold. Taking nice big breaths and really trying to keep your chest over your hands. Your knees are not on the ground if possible. Fingers are widespread. Belly button pulled up and in. Are you still breathing? And one more big breath. Slowly coming back up, picking up left leg. Taking a big breath in on the exhale, knee to forehead. Inhale, reach back. Exhaling, knee to forehead. Inhaling, reach back. Exhale, knee to forehead. Inhale, reach back. One more. And reach it back. Open knee to the side. Hug it in. Reaching it back. Open to the side. Bringing it in. Reaching back. Open to the side. Bringing it in. One more in this direction. Side. And reach back. Reverse, bringing it up to belly. Open to the side and up. Reaching it up. Open. And up. Two more. And up. Last one. And stacking left hip on top of right hip. And breathe, making sure both hands are equally on the ground. As we take those big breaths in and big breath out. And one more big breath, slowly unstack, taking left knee directly behind left wrist. Coming up into what we call pigeon. So option one is to bend the back knee, sitting down in deer. Option two, square the hips and lengthen and come down onto your forearms. Making sure that front foot is slightly flexed, just to protect the integrity of your knee as well as your ankle. Taking big breaths in and big breath out. And one more big breath on the exhale. Slowly coming back up, tucking back, toes coming back into downward facing dog. And when you are ready, very carefully soften knees coming back into tabletop, but where your knees are off the ground. Chest is over hands. Really pulling out through pelvic floor as we take those big breaths in and big breath out. And one more big breath on the exhale, lengthening the body and walking through the feet. And whenever you're ready, let's pick up our right leg, soften the knee, and bringing knee into chest. Inhale, reach back, and knee to chest. Inhale, reach back, and knee to chest. Inhaling, reach back one more. And reaching it back, circle, open to the side, pulling it into the chest. Extend back, open to the side, bringing it forward, reaching back, and open to the side, pulling it in, reach it back, one more in this direction, and reverse the other way, bringing it forward, open to the side, reach it back, bringing it forward, open to the side, reach it back, and bring it forward, open to the side, reach it back, one more, and reach it back, both feet onto the ground, and very carefully coming into child's pose, reaching hips back just for a moment, and then coming back up, tucking your toes, coming all the way back up, picking up left leg this time, taking left knee behind, left arm coming into pigeon on the opposite side. So again, option one is bending into that back knee, bringing into deer. Option two, square the hips and find yourself into sleeping pigeon. Taking those big breaths in and big breath out. And two more big breaths. And slowly bringing hands back up. Tuck your toes, coming back up into a three-legged dog. Bending knees, stacking hip. And taking big breaths in. And big breath out. And slowly unstack, bringing both feet down and very carefully picking up left foot. That's bringing it into a lizard. So taking that left foot on the outside of left hand, coming all the way. So really allowing the knee to hug in towards your shoulder. If you are able to get your forearms onto the ground, please do. Trying to keep the hips even. You can always take that back knee down too as we breathe. Taking in those big breaths in and big breath out, really seeing if you can lengthen the spine as we slowly find our way a little bit closer to the ground. And one more big breath, slowly coming all the way back up, bending knee, stacking hip, pulling up through the pelvic floor. And slowly unstack, placing both feet onto the ground. Soften into our knees and very carefully lengthen. And two more, gently soften and lengthen. Last one. And lengthen, picking up our right leg, and we are going to step right foot onto the outside of right hand, feeling that shoulder really hugging in as we breathe. And if it feels okay to come down onto forearms, please do. Really lengthening your spine as we breathe. Taking these deep breaths in and deep breath out, really hugging me in towards the shoulder. Feeling free to bring back knee onto the ground if that feels good. Trying to keep the hips even. One more big breath. Slowly walking hands back up, extending, bending knee, stacking hip, taking big breaths in and big breath out. And two more. And slowly unstack both feet down, very carefully softening into your knees. We are going to jump, step, or float the feet forward, bringing it into masala. So taking your feet to the outside of your hands and dropping your seat down. Shoulders back, really lengthening. If this is too intense, you can always come all the way down to the ground, sitting up onto your sits bones and taking your elbows to the inside of your legs. So not on your knees. Really breathing. This is a great way to get into your hips if you've been spending time this weekend or studying a lot or on Netflix, or just sitting and having some really good food, or however you spent your time. Sometimes just breathing into the hips is really good, just to release your low back, release your hips, seeing if we can lengthen our spines just a bit more as we take those big breaths in and big breath out. And a couple more. Last one. Bringing hands to the ground, pivot the feet, toes face forward, and just shifting your hips from side to side. And slowly coming back, center heels in. Second time, soften the knees, coming all the way up, taking those big breaths in and big breath out. If you've been feeling a little stressed lately, imagine breathing in through the bottoms of your feet and filling up your kidneys and your low back. And on the exhale, just breathing out anything you want to let go of. Sometimes just breathing, which feels like the most impossible thing in the world when we're in the middle of stress, can help release all that stuff that we carry. So taking really big breaths. And one more big breath, slowly bringing hands, coming into a forward fold. And just shifting your hips from side to side again. slowly coming back to center, bringing heels in. Last time coming into Masala. Soften the knees, shoulders, belly button in, and breathe. Sometimes I find doing this a few times, especially if you have yoga blocks or a pillow to sit on, can sometimes help release your hips where you get a little deeper, a little bit more release in the hips as we relax into this. Taking those deep breaths in and deep breath out. And 2 more big breaths. And slowly bringing hands to the ground. If anybody wants to come into crow, please do. Really breathe. Otherwise, coming into that forward fold, feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. And of course, if you are doing crow, just making sure that it is something that is in your practice. And slowly soften our knees. Let's come all the way back up to standing and bringing shoulders up. And exhale, rolling them back, and 2 more. And 1 more. Rooting into your right foot when you're ready. Let's bring left knee up. So option 1 is here. Option 2 is reaching for your foot, making sure ribs are stacked. Option 3 is to extend and making sure that we're up nice and tall. Your leg may or may not be able to straighten. Really breathing. And when you're ready, bringing it to the side. Feeling your crown reaching up to the ceiling. And slowly bringing it back. We are going to switch. Which hand is on the foot as we come into a twist. And again, this can be done with a yoga strap, can be done with a bent knee. And slowly coming back to center, reach your hips back as we reach towards our toes. And whenever you're ready, finding yourself back up in mountain pose, breathing in through the bottoms of the feet. Taking nice big breaths in and big breath out. And 2 more big breaths. And last one. And when you're ready, transfer to the opposite foot. Start to bring our right knee up, belly button in. And again, option 1 is bent knee. Option 2, starting to straighten, making sure your rib cage is stacked over your hips as we breathe. And whenever you're ready, slowly bringing it to the side. And slowly transfer, bringing it back to the front, coming into that twist. And slowly coming back to center, reaching over your leg. And 1 more big breath on the exhale, coming back to mountain pose. Taking those big breaths in and big breath out. And a couple more. And when you're ready, let's come into a high lunge. Really breathe. So we are going to do a variation of bird feeder. So one option is to have the arms out. Option two is by your sides. Because what we're going to do is transfer into warrior three. Hold for 3 breaths. And come back to that lunge. So coming all the way. Bringing chest forward. Looking through the tops of your eyes forward on the ground. And one more, slowly coming all the way back up, bringing it into a lunge as your teacher falls over. And breathe, really reaching arms up, really lengthening torso, taking those big breaths in and big breath out. And when you're ready, very carefully coming back, transferring into front foot and reach. Second time. This time 4 breaths. And slowly coming back up, finding that nice strength. And one more big breath, slowly. Pivot your feet, bringing it into goddess pose, toes out to the corners, soften your knees. And breathe, knees over toes, feeling tailbone lifted as we breathe, taking those big breaths in and big breath out. And one more big breath. When you're ready, option 1 is to pivot and come back to the top of the mat. Option 2 is to turn so your other foot is in front. Whichever variation feels best to you is great. I am going to take my right foot back this time, finding that foundation with the opposite leg on front. Hips are square. Really breathe. Your back foot may or may not be turned out as we take those big breaths in and big breath out. And one more big breath when you are ready, slowly getting ready to transfer. And 3 big breaths in. And 3 big breaths out. Imagine lengthening torso, feeling your foot reaching a little further back. And slowly finding ourselves back up in that warrior 1. Really breathe. Taking nice deep breaths in and deep breath out. And one more big breath when you are ready, gently transfer. And slowly, 4 big breaths in. And 4 big breaths out. Two more big breaths. And slowly Coming back up into that warrior one. Taking big breaths in and big breath out. One more big breath on the exhale slowly. Coming back up to the top. Taking deep breaths in and deep breath out. And softening into your knees. That's bringing it into a twist. So option one is taking left hand to right side. Option two, taking left elbow to right side. One more big breath on the exhale, coming back to center. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down. Let's soften the knees. Coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart. Soften knees. And let's come the opposite way. Taking left, right elbow over to left side. And one more big breath, slowly coming back to center. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhale, relaxing down, soften knees, and slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart, hands to side. One last time coming into Masala, which sometimes feels a little easier. The second time we come into this and just breathing into your hips, shoulders back, really lengthening our spine. Taking big breaths in and big breath out. And one more big breath on the exhale, bringing hands, pivot our feet, and gently shifting our hips from side to side. And slowly soften the knees. Let's come all the way up. All the way, and bringing shoulders up again. Big breath in. And big breath out. Two more. And exhale, last one. And whenever you're ready, we are going to find our way down onto our backs. Very carefully, just double checking that your neck is feeling healthy as we breathe. Slowly finding our way down. And very carefully, down side by side. Slowly all the way. Knees are about hip distance apart. And very carefully lifting pelvis, stomach, and chest. And gently shifting your hips to the right, dipping through center, over to the left, through center, to the right, center. Exhale at the top. Inhaling as they come down. Exhale, squeeze at the top. Big breath in. Big breath out. And slowly coming back to center, slowly down, hugging knees in towards chest and rocking from side to side. And drawing circles. And reverse the opposite way. And coming back to center, opening arms, feet together, soles of the feet together, and breathing into our hips. Taking nice deep breaths in and deep breath out. Seeing if we can allow the hips to release just a bit more as we take those big breaths in and big breath out. And if it feels okay to wiggle the hips from side to side, just releasing, please, please, please do. And slowly bringing legs back to center. Option one, right leg stays on the ground, engaging our core, feeling low back pressed into the ground, bringing left knee in, open to the side, circle it around. Really trying to keep the opposite, so your right hip on the ground as we rotate our left knee coming from the hip. And one more. If this feels okay, option one is keeping it here. Option two is 4 more, but with a long leg, really reaching around. And option 4, lengthening that right leg along the ground, and 4 more. Are you still breathing? Is your neck and shoulders still relaxed? 2 more. And slowly soften both knees. Knees from side to side, just releasing our spine, feeling just that engagement of the abdomen. And coming back to center, just making sure the low back is pressed into the ground. You can always take your fingers in an inch, give it a tiny cough, just to make sure it's engaged, and bringing knee up, open to the side and bring it down. The hardest part, and what I mean by keeping your left cheek on the ground, is sometimes your body wants to go with that leg. So just isolating that right leg. And one more, making sure low back is still pressed into the ground. Option one is keep going. Option two is to lengthen. Circle it around and reach. And one more. And if it feels okay to lengthen that left leg, and you're able to keep that left hip on the ground, please do. 2 more. And release both knees. side to side. And coming back to center. And very carefully, both knees reach away. Open, circle. Open, circle. 2 more. 1 more. And reverse the other way. Reach away, circle, and in. Reaching away, open, and in. 2 more. And that's my Ripley. 1 more. And extending the legs, slowly reaching them away. Open to the sides, circle it around, reaching away, making sure that low back is engaged, abdomen is engaged. Open and around, just being careful not to kick anything. And 1 more. And bringing it down, knees from side to side. Coming back to center, bringing knees in, reaching knees away, open and around, open. One more. And lengthening legs, open, circle it around, up, open, and circle. 2 more. Last one. And slowly bringing legs down, giving yourself a nice shake out. And soften both knees, knees to the ceiling, feet hip distance apart, letting your knees melt over towards the right as you turn your head to the left. Taking big breaths in and big breath out. And slowly coming back to center. And knees the opposite way, head the other way too. And coming back to center, reaching fingers and toes to opposite ends to yawn. And stretch, feeling fresh, cool air coming in, warm air coming out. And when you're ready, allowing your arms to relax down by your sides, palms up to receive energy, or palms down to ground. feeling yourself, taking a nice deep breath in and exhale, starting to feel movement returning to fingers, toes, hands, and feet. If you'd like to reach your arms above your head to yawn and stretch, please do. Feeling fresh, cool air coming in, warm air coming out, and slowly rolling to one side, using your biceps as a pillow, and slowly finding your way back up to a tall seat. Feeling your sits bones melting into the earth, crown reaching up to the sky, and reaching your arms up. Taking a big breath in and exhale. And one more, this time thinking of an intention for the rest of your day. And pull that intention down into your heart and breathe it in. And on your exhale, bowing to thank yourself. And I thank you. Namaste, everyone.